Patriots fans, last year, the big issue on special teams going into the season was Ryland or Sly. Who the heck was going to be the kicker? But now the Patriots drafted a guy that I think is going to be clutch. Andres Borregales. Let's talk about him. My name is Aaron on the daily Patriots content. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment below. Now, you guys know pre-draft I had talked about Andre Borregales or Ben Sauls out of Pitt. I was leaning towards Ben Sauls. I thought that's who they wanted. But again, they ended up getting the guy they wanted out of Miami in Borregales. And we're going to jump into talking about him. And I know you're going to like this story. So one of the first stories they talk about is his true freshman year when he was playing for the Hurricanes. They were playing Virginia. They had a game-winning drive, and he had a 33-yard field goal try. He ends up kicking it. He hits it off the upright, which was just an absolute disaster. They end up losing the game. And from that point, that was one of those catalysts that built his character, his resolve, and these things where he was, hey, I'm going to be the best I can be. I'm going to put my head down. I'm going to work, and I am going to be one of the best kickers in college football, and I'm going to go play in the NFL. So you see something like that. You know, I talk to my kids at school. You know, you will fail in life. You will mess up in life. But the question is, how do you pick yourself up? That's what we're humans. We're not perfect. And so how are you going to pick yourself up and move forward? And it's great to see someone like Borregales come to the Patriots franchise. Again, when we look back, and I know we've talked about this a lot, but the contrast between last year to this year already is massive. You look at Joey Sly, and it was just one of those things that I don't think there was games that I was like, okay, he's the kicker. And there's other games where it was total meltdown. And I'm just like, what is going on here with this kicking game? We'd be so much better if we're being more consistent, which Borregales brings. And so that is something that I think is huge that he's bringing to this special teams unit, is the fact that he's coming in and, hey, I've experienced failure. I've witnessed this before. I know what that feels like, and I don't want it to feel like that again. So I'm going to work hard to make sure that doesn't happen. And that's what you want, a player with that type of mindset coming into this franchise. Now you look at his combine, 4-year starter for the Miami Hurricanes in the ACC. And they were had a little bit of, you would say, an underwhelming year for having the offense they did, as well as obviously Cam Ward, who ended up going first overall to the Tennessee Titans. But you look at his strengths, career make rate of 86% over 4 years, crazy. Hit 75% from 50 plus over the last 2 years. Flies kicks with consistent end over end action. Repeatable ball striking creates consistent action. And if we jump, we'll go to his weakness in a second. But if we jump into his stats over here, what I love about ESPN is the fact that they break it down from his field goals from, all the way from 50 plus to 1 to 19, which 1 to 19, you better not be kicking a field goal from 1 to 19 yards out, because again, you might as well try to, analytics say go for the touchdown, goodness sakes. But you look at his senior year, perfect from 20 to 29, perfect from 30 to 39, missed one from 40 to 49, perfect from over 50 or over. So his longest being 56. The man is consistent. And after that miss as well, clutch as well. Multiple situations where he came in clutch, getting a game-winning field goal for his team to put them ahead to get the W. That's the type of guy you want. He's experienced pressure. He knows how to handle pressure, and he knows how to come in clutch. That's big. And so, again, if you look at any of the other kickers that were in the draft, Ben Sauls had this past year was a great year. But again, Borregales' consistency over 4 years was huge for him. And even extra points, I know it's different in college football than it is in the pros, but in college football, he was able to go literally miss one extra point, which is pretty wild. So he ended up going, well, I can't see it, but his junior year was 44 or 45. So again, impressive. The Patriots knew who they wanted, taking in a guy who not only is going to perform well on the field and has done that at the collegiate level, but also the type of guy that's going to come in and show through his work ethic what he does, that this is the standard for the New England Patriots. This is the standard for a kicker in the NFL. Now, the big question is you still have Romo on the team as a kicker. And there's been people that have already said, listen, Aaron, sorry, I thought the screen was up. That's why I was looking down. Listen, Aaron, he had potential when he was playing for the Vikings. He had a great stint when he was there. Who's to say he doesn't start? Again, I think the issue was, and the reason they brought him in was Joey Sly was struggling a little bit, and it was almost like a Band-Aid, a quick fix. I do not think Romo is the answer. Again, there's the reason why, and I said this time and time again as we were heading up to the draft, that the Patriots would, it was signed and sealed, that they were going to get a kicker. They needed a kicker. Romo was not the answer. So every time I say Romo too, I think of Tony Romo, but obviously not Tony Romo. He's off golfing somewhere. So again, I'm sure that they're going to compete, and I'm sure the media is going to come out and say, look, we have a competition between, Borregales and Romo. I think if anything, that's going to be fabricated. Mike Vrabel and Springer, the special teams coach, will probably come out and say, yes, every position is always up for grabs. You got to come out, you got to perform. That's the typical coach speech, which you want to hear. You shouldn't be going into practice just assuming, and I don't think Borregales thinks that, but it is that same thing where he's going to have to come in and be consistent and say, listen, I know I can do this. I can perform. I can show you how I'm going to be better than Romo. And I think that is going to be it. Now, when we jump into his weakness right here, that I've seen people point out other places, it says slightly below average hang time for kickoffs. Now, here's the thing. When we look at kickoffs, I do not think that is a huge deal. It's going to be interesting to see moving forward for the years to come, how they will kind of tweak and change up how they do kickoff, since obviously we had this big change this past year. But what it seems like is, a lot of these guys just kick it into the end zone. Listen, we'll let you, we're not going to let you return it. And that's what it seemed like. So the question is going to become, if they do that, are they going to change the rule to them getting the ball? I believe right now they get the ball on the 30 on a touchback. And so would they get the ball if it's, I believe, kicked out of bounds? They get it on the 40, something like that. It's been a while since I've looked at the rules. Forgive me. But anyways, I don't think that's going to be a big deal. And that's the only weakness that he has. We can deal with it. We can figure it out. I think it's going to be fine. So comment below. What do you think, Andreas Borregales? What are your thoughts? You excited? You nervous? Maybe you're a Romo guy. What do you think? Comment below. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button. It means the world to me. We'll talk later. Peace.